Hi guys, it's Blackfinch here again, and today I'm just going to take a quick look at, well, he says quick look, it's never a quick look with me, but I'm going to take a look at 4 of the expanding number of tier 8 premiums available to you. So we've got the JagTiger 88, the IS6, the Super Pershing, and the T34. I'll show a quick game of each and sum up some of the pros and cons. Now, I'm not going to spend loads and loads of time looking at armor profiles, etc, etc, etc. I recommend you download Tank Inspector, have a look yourself before making any kind of decisions. That way you can really get to the nuts and bolts of it, but I will sum up briefly here. So we'll start with the Jag 88. Or in fact no, we'll start with a quick discussion about the perks of why on earth you would get a premium tank in the first place. So, for those that don't know, we'll get the tech tree up and look at tier 8. You can see that there is the JagTiger 88 there that costs you 10,000 gold, the Lerva. Now, I'll come to the Lerva in a minute. For the Germans, tier 8, there's Pat for M10, the E25, the Dicker Max, the Panzer IV, Schmaltram, T25, and then you've got the Panzer S35, the T15. I've got a lot of the German ones. I really want to complete the German tech tree, and we'll eventually have to get them all, which means the Lerva will inevitably return to my garage after our previous falling out. But every nation's got a few, so the Chinese have got the T34-3, which is tempting, the 112, which is less tempting. France have got the FCM50. Germany, we've gone through those. Britain, none at tier 8 yet. You've got the AT-15, Matilda Black Prince, the Sexton. That's a good laugh. Doesn't mean it's good, just means it's a good laugh. Then in the US you've got the Locust, the Ram, but more significantly at tier 8 you've got this T34 and the T26E4, which if you were unfortunate enough to have not been on the game when they were giving them away for free, might be worth considering anyway. But there are a lot of them about now, and it's probably going to benefit you to know about them. So for the Russians, the Soviets, sorry, you've got the IS6 at tier 8, that's really it. They were talking about putting in a T54 Light at tier 8 as a premium, but now they're talking about it being a Scout, so we'll see. They've been talking about nerfing the KV-1S forever, and they still haven't done it. So the Japanese at the moment have only got the Chinokai, but there's quite a few premium tanks in the game. But the highest tier for premium tanks is tier 8. Now, the first disclaimer I'm going to make is, if you don't already have a tier 8 tank, I would advise against rushing in and buying a tier 8 premium. I mean, there are circumstances in which it's probably unavoidable, like you've got friends who are playing lots of tier 8 games and you don't want to be left out, in which case, maybe. But right, premium tanks, why on earth would you buy them? There's a load in the game. We've had a look at a ton of them. They're tanks that you can't get any other way. First things first. Premium tanks also get a number of benefits, the most noticeable of which, or the most desirable of which, is probably going to be the fact that they get a credit earning multiplier, which varies slightly from tank to tank, but you're looking at something in the region of, for most of the tier 8s, of 1.5 times the number of credits you would normally earn. So, and it's slightly pushed up for some vehicles and pushed down for others, depending on how much gold the vehicle costs and how penalised it is. The second perk is crew. You don't have to have a dedicated crew for your premium tanks. So if you have a look here, you'll notice that my crew for my JagTiger 88 are my Jagdpanzer E100 crew. Now, normally when you put the wrong crew in, where the effective percentage shows for your crew skill, it'll be a number lower than the actual skill. So you'll notice in this case there's no penalty. Basically, if you've got a German premium tank destroyer, then you can put any German tank destroyer crew in it and they won't get a penalty. And the penalties they get for putting other German vehicle crews in are reduced. Which is quite nice. So if there's like a crew XP event on, you can go out and get your first win in the regular vehicle, pop the crew over into the premium, and then get the bonus in that. It also means you don't have to buy an expensive crew, and if you've got a good crew in one of your vehicles, they can live in the tier 8 premium. So I've got my JagTiger E100 crew in here. I believe this is my IS3 crew. This is my M3 Lee crew. Poor guys. And then I've got my T29 crew in my T34. So none of them have had to have a dedicated crew. I can pick a good crew from a good vehicle and put it in here, which is one bonus of these tanks. Now, the next dilemma you're going to have is some premium tanks, 3 of them here, the Pershing, the JagTiger and the IS6, all get premium matchmaking. The T34 gets normal matchmaking, so like any tier 8 it can potentially be in a tier 10 game, and depending on when you log in and the number of players online, the number of people in the queue, etc., it will be. And if you're one of these people like me that plays at the small hours of the morning, it will be a lot. So bear that in mind. The IS6, the JagTiger 88 and the Super Pershing, however, all enjoy the benefit of premium matchmaking. That is because some feature of their tank, and in all those cases it's the gun, is subpar, and at tier 10 it wouldn't hold up. So these will only ever be in, at worst, a tier 9 game. Now, which to use, to me, and there are other tier 8 premiums that are worth exploring, but I can only really review the ones I've got in my garage. The ones to use tend to be the ones that you've got crew for. So if you're pushing down the Russian heavy line, you've got, let's get the tech tree up, it's easier to show. You're pushing down the Russian heavy lines, either of them really. There is a KV5 premium tank that's not on here, but occasionally comes up as available, etc. And then there's other premiums out there, but you're pushing down this line, it's likely that even your IS7, your IS6, your IS3, your IS, or your KV1S crew could all drive an IS6. So it would be a logical choice because you've already got the crew for it. Your T150, your KV3, your KV4, your STI, and your IS4 crew could also drive it, but you would have more crew members in most of those vehicles than it needs, so they wouldn't all get equal training. But again, that's not a big, it's still probably a perfectly adequate choice for you. I won't go through them all, but obviously if you're pushing German TDs, both lines, especially the Waffenträger line towards the end where they start getting lots of crew in them, the JagTiger 88 is beneficial. You've got a couple of, the Americans are quite nice, they've got that 5 crew setup on pretty much all their mediums, so except the M3 Lee, which has another one, but I've sold my M3 Lee, I just needed somewhere to park the crew. Just to prove a point actually, I send this crew to the barracks, check that I've got some space in my barracks. Yeah, I've got 5 available bunks in my barracks, good. Because I'm cheap and don't have a full barracks. I can go to tier 5, I can take my M4 Sherman crew and send them to the barracks, and then if I go to tier 8 and choose my Super Pershing, let's just get rid of all these tanks that we don't need, I can put my M4 Sherman crew in, and you see they don't show up in red. They're going to get the benefit of all of their skills, and they're ever so slightly better than my M3 Lee crew, but just case in point there. So perks of these different vehicles, and I'm conscious of the fact that we're already 10 minutes into this video and I've not even started talking about specific tanks. So the JagTiger 88, it gets the Tiger 2 chassis with the big box on the top that you get in the JagTiger a tier earlier. Great armor. Obvious weak spot, the lower glacial plate. The transmission's there, so easy to set people's engines on fire if you hit them there as well. That machine gun port is a weak spot. You might be able to hit that view hatch and knock the guy out as well. It's a pretty hard shot. The side is a massive target and only 80mm of armour at this tier, easily penetrated. Your ammo racks in there, that will go up on a regular basis. Your rear is gain. So frontally, it's a beast. If you can get it hold down, protect that lower glacial plate, it's quite good. This gun, fair penetration. It's the 88 gun like you had in the Tiger. Great rate of fire, 11.11. With my crew, who admittedly have got rubberized arms and all that lot, it fires very, very quickly. But accurate. It's a good gun. Really puts out DPS well. Does lack a bit of penetration against, say, tier 9 heavies frontally. You will have to take the time to aim for the weak spots, but 0.31 dispersion, you do get that opportunity. So frontally, it's well armoured. It's slow, but if you can get it hold down, protecting a street or something like that, where people are only going to be able to come from your front, great. Best to stick with other people. On your own, your sides and rear are vulnerable to faster tanks. IS-6. Now on paper, this looks like it's got no armor whatsoever, and I think I've done some videos. Done videos with Ace Tank of the IS-6 if you want to see a bit more info. But basically, the sloping on this armor makes it awesome. I bounce a very good percentage of my shots. The turret, not quite so good, but weak spots. That's 10mm thinner. The big hatch in the center. If you can shoot the tank and you can get it at an angle where this panel is flat, or this panel is flat, or this panel is flat, which is not. If you angle it slightly, they're all at weird angles. It's kind of awesome. The sides are even angled, even though they're not that. Yeah, there's armored as the front, but it's a good, not steeply angled, but it's just a well protected tank, and people will get frustrated bouncing shots off of you. And like these commanders hatches at the top here aren't very big, and if you're moving around, it's hard to hit. The downside you've got on this vehicle is that you've got that same 122mm gun that you were given at tier 6 in your KV-1S. You were outrageously given at tier 6 in your KV-1S, which totally doesn't deserve it. But it's and its penetration is somewhat lacking for the tier. But if you're patient, you get beside things, you aim for weak spots, it won't be such a hindrance. Still the good alpha damage. It's like an IS-3 with a less good gun and slightly more reliable armor. So you're super Pershing. Now, the perks of the super Pershing is this is a Pershing tank with a whole bunch of extra armor welded on the front. So this chunk of armor here is spaced armor. This chunk of armor around the turret is spaced armor. And it's really tough frontally. Really, really tough. And ammunition is fairly ineffective against you because of the spacing. HE splash does virtually nothing to you again because of the spacing. It's beastly at the front. Places to aim here, this bit here, these cheeks under the turret there, this bit here, this whole top bar basically above the space armor, and the machine gun. They're the weak spots on the front of this. The side, no funky spaced armor, it's a standard Pershing. And the rear, well, have fun. Tier 3s and 4s will readily penetrate the rear of this tank, but you know, what are you doing giving them your rear? So, frontally, very well armoured. It's got great gun depression like all the American tanks. Again, it's let down by the gun. 170mm of penetration doesn't cut the mustard at this tier. 0.38 dispersion, so it's not accurate. 7.31 rate of fire, so it's not even got the machine gun that you get on the JagTiger 88. The gun is very disappointing. But like the 88 and the IS-6, it will only ever be in a tier 9 game, it won't be in a higher tier. So last but not least, the T-34. Again, great if you're going down the American heavy line and you've got a crew to stick in it. My T-29 crew are in there. Unlike the others, this doesn't have a poor gun. This is very like the T29. It's got very relatively weak hull armor, 102mm, slightly sloped at the front. Most things of the tier can penetrate you if it's not an acute angle and they take their time to aim. But the turret, 279mm, massive chunk of metal here on the front of the gun. In addition to that, is so hard to penetrate. It's got great gun depression, so it's great at just poking the turret over the top of a hill. Your weak spots, anyone with any downward angle can hit these plates here. That's very weak armor, and even if not, this commander's hatch here at the back of the turret is a weak spot. I think the machine gun might be a weak spot, but frankly just aim anywhere on that hull, it's fairly weak. Unlike the other tier 8s, this can see tier 10 games, and the reason is this not very accurate gun, 0.35 dispersion. It's a very American gun. It generally shoots in the rough area of the thing that you are aiming at, and sometimes you get lucky. The Super Pershings is even worse, but 248mm of penetration, 297 if you use a PCR. It can be relied on to go through their armor. The aim time is a bit sluggish, the rate of fire is not great, but that damage of about 400 a shot is very good, and you can have good gains versus higher tier tanks. So I like all of these, but I shall show a little bit of footage of each of these in games, and hopefully that will help you in making your own personal decisions about which to get. I'm going to say here right off the bat, if I was going to choose only one of these tanks to have, for me, it's going to be the IS-6. And not because I think it's the best. I think probably the T-34 is the best overall, just because it can, but it's easy tier 10 games. But the IS-6 I own for making credits, and this one seems to make me the most credits, and it's just great fun. But let's play some games and give you a chance to see the tanks for yourself. So I am taking out the JagTiger 88. It does have pref matchmaking. I am top tier. This is literally the first game I've played. And I'm going to try and do the same for all of those tanks, so we'll see how it goes. Top tier, and it's an assault. No, it's an encounter mission. I'm thinking there's a Jag 88 on the other team, IS-3, T-34. There's a couple of good hold downers there. Up the 1 line or up the 0 line. Certainly don't want to be fighting near the flag. Let's see where the team goes. Our 2 Hellcats are T-34 and ARL. Yeah, as ever. We've got plenty going up. We've got plenty going up that path to 0 line. Now in this mode it matters less. It's not that it doesn't matter at all, but just like that proportion of your team who are for most of the game not going to be able to affect anything that's going on in the cap circle, really. And it's a huge proportion of the team too, so I'm going to get me over to the 1 line if I can. I've already got people on the cap. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. But as you can see, the 88 is not massively mobile. But it's not like British tank destroyer slow. It doesn't inexorably trundle across the battlefield. And when I'm doing nearly 30, shells landing over here. Let's hope they aren't aimed at me. They're just people playing guess. My side armour is terrible, and they've got what, a Hello Kitty in the circle. Well, our Caravan and our Churchill 7 should probably be able to deal with him. But JagTiger 88's brave. What you do get a lot of in premium tanks, and I mean no offence to those of you who are these people, but people who've not played a lot of games but they really wanted to try a tier 8, and they've bought it well before they're at tier 8 themselves, and there's a learning curve to every single tier, and the first tank you get is going to be, you know, the one that you learn it in, but for them they've not also had the benefit of not great alpha damage, but they've not had the benefit of playing the tier below and at least having some idea of the opposition that they'll be facing. No was lucky, he pulled back and I hit the side of his gun mantlet, but you see the great rate of fire of this thing. Oh, we're going to lose our Churchill, are we? And we've lost the Carnarvon. This game's not looking like it's going to be the best demonstration of this tank's ability, just because I think our team might be dead before I even get to the fight. But this guy I can at least punish for being stupid. I've tried to track him actually. Let's see if we can. The Hellcat's on my side, but let's finish him off first. You can at least see that the gun's got a good rate of fire, enough penetration to do the job in most instances. I mean, I'm lucky here, most things are lower tier than me now. I've got to expose my weak spot coming up over this ridge to a lower plate, so I'm going to do it at an acute angle to where I think the enemy is. Oh, there's a Caravan, right. His weak spot's his lower plate. He also keeps his ammo rack in there if memory serves me well, so we might get lucky. Oh, we've got someone in the circle buying us some time. Let's just DPS this guy a bit before the game ends. We can't sit here swapping shots with him all day. I'm going to load the premium because I can, just to be sure that these go through. This is a very skillless fight. I'm really fighting here. This guy has been really quite lucky. There we go, he's gone. And our team suddenly found a glimmer of skill. I'd written this game off for dead and was behaving accordingly. I'm now going to have to be a tiny bit more sensible. SU-152 is a threat, but I don't think we'll get another shot at him. Nah. It was worth a tentative poke, but that Hellcat's going to ruin my day if it gets behind me. I know there's the SFL-4 there backing me up, so... Again, this armour is pretty effective. We haven't got anyone that's going to protect this cap, so I can't see us winning this now. We did have a stab at fixing it. It's going to be one of those rare occasions where I saw a loss in a video. There have been a few. It's not because I don't lose, it's just because they tend to be boring games, me complaining about the quality of my team. As I said at the start, we committed too many people to that 0 line and they weren't able to affect the game, and now they've won the 0 line, they've lost loads of tanks, and the enemy has captured our base. But that's the JagTiger 88, which you can see there. The armour pinged a few shots. Hellcat was struggling to deal with me, certainly. When my side was exposed, they could go through. The Carnarvon has got a good gun, so he can penetrate the weaker parts of my frontal armour. How did I do? So, top performer on the team. 2,700 damage. I was 1 damage shy of being the person with the most in the game. There you go, some good advertising for the T-34 there. You were on the winning side, son. Couple of kills. Even with that loss, 50,000 credits made, which is the primary reason for people buying these. If I'd have had a non-premium account, it'd have been 24,000 credits made. Still isn't bad. You know, a loss at tier 8 and you make good credits. So That's the main selling point for this. Let's get the detailed report up. So I fired 21 shots, 18 hit, 12 penetrated. I did 2,700 damage, so you can see it's pretty accurate. And a couple of those were on the move. On the move, I mean when I was still swinging the hull. If it had a turret, that would have been a different story. So, a good tank, a great gun. Doesn't have the penetration to deal with higher tiers. You didn't get to see that in this game, but can be good. And I hope that gives you an idea of the Jag-88. So next is the IS-6. This is the one I said if I was only going to buy one of these tanks, it'd be this one. So, let's see what happens. It's the sound of me making myself more comfortall, that squeaking and rattling. It's not my joints, honest. And I'm surprised with the number of players there are on now that I'm having a queue this long. Come on, fight a game. It's never gets up this high. There we go. So this is a tier 9 game, but it's not a very tier 9 game. Each side has one really. It's an assault on Siegfried line. We are defending. Now, with this tank, this is this opposition. The AMX 5100, I can easily penetrate Carnarvon, I can penetrate the lower part of its hull. The IS-3, I've just got to get them at the right angle. The IS-6 is the problem. Two IS-6s facing off against each other is always an amusing fight. KV-4, ooh, two levers. They've got a lot of heavies. I mean, so have we. In fact, each team has a ton of heavies. We got one more. Wow, what a game. This could be interesting. Yeah, part of the wood, you know, boss. Now the IS-6, it's quite mobile for a heavy. I'm doing mid-30s, but I get there reasonably quickly, reasonably easy. It turns okay. I'm going to come down into the city. I don't like being at the back here at the mercy of tank destroyers, but not that there are any or artillery. But with the number of let this KV-4 get to where he wants to get. The number of heavies, I imagine this is going to be just a giant and amazingly fun brawl. Poke my nose over the top of this rubble. See if there's anything down here worth bullying. At the moment, no. Our whoever the heavy is down the bottom there doesn't like life. Haven't seen enough of the enemy team yet for me to make any kind of bold move. I'm just going to be patient here. My instincts tell me that at some point there might be a no. Let's see what the VK sees. He's found the E75. He's going to need help with that. The E75 won't be a problem if we can get more than one of us on it and expose its rear armour. Let's help this guy out here. Not let him be left alone. Well, that was a bit unfortunate, and he got a good damage roll for VK. That's right near the top end of his roll range. If he's going to give me his side armour, I am going to hit him. Ooh. And that 34 is not going to be a threat. Punish the IS-3. Not got a bad rate of fire for a 122 once every 10 or so seconds. I've got a fairly capable crew, but the point of premiums is you tend to be playing with fairly capable crews. Just go, Lerva, just go. There was a shot that came over from somewhere near their starting area. really a bother. You can never tell with premium players the kind of the quality of the player. They could be very, very new to the tier. I appreciate that's true of other tanks as well, but it just seems to be exacerbated in the case of premiums. Ooh, that's a good word. What that was, but that's my awesome armor bouncing stuff. Waiting for his lower plate to be exposed. On almost every German tank that's a weak spot. This guy is just annoying. The E75 doesn't have the top gun. I'm going to have to face the music here. Let's fight these guys or that E75. Do you know what? Suddenly the E75 is more appealing. I'm going to take one more hit. I'm probably dead here. Unlucky there. I should have waited a microsecond to try and get a better aim on his lower plate and finish him off. But I mean, they didn't really give you a great opportunity to see the perks of the IS-6. It was just such a massive heavy brawl, and I wanted to get stuck in and do some damage, but it bounced some shots there. The T-32 has not actually got a great gun, but he was able to, because he was lower than me, shoot at the lower part of my hull, and a lot of the angling was removed. But the alpha damage is very good, and if you aim for the right spots on tanks, you get the penetrations. I think this one, where I've played less well, is going to be a win. This is the way that World Tanks works. Anyway, no point sitting here watching the end. I shan't show the plates because much has happened, but you get an idea of that game. So, next, the Super Pershing. This is the last of the tanks that gets pref matchmaking. This is one of the only mediums. Let's see. Oh, the queues today, and I appreciate it. It could be done pref matchmaking tanks, and it's slightly harder for the matchmaker to get them in games. And it's been kind to me so far. So this is probably tier 9. More tier 9 than the others have been. A couple of IS-8s. I haven't got much armor, which is nice. T-54, which is not nice. T-54 E1, which is also not nice. The artillery I'm not so bothered about. So for me, this map with mediums, you can either go fight around sort of H2J3 and engage the other mediums with a hull downing medium like this, the crossroads in the center at about E7 is an option, and there's always the temptation to try and go fight in unusual places, but I'm going to see where the rest of my team are going. I'm reticent to go fight down the medium brawling line because the T-54 is going to be there, and oh, please don't be AFKWZ. Groan. I hope that WZ kicks into life and comes and helps. This gun, this 170mm of pen, really struggles with the T-54 thankfully. The T-54 E1 will just auto-load me to pieces. The two T-44s are less of a problem. T-43, that'd be nice if that's the only thing I encounter. That'd be lovely. Bully that. Gonna really struggle to penetrate the great armor on the front of this. Now the first thing you'll notice, this is a medium tank. This is a really slow medium tank. Hooray! There's the WZ. And he's giving me a push. We like him. He was late to the party, but at least he arrived. I'm going to clear a bit of space so he can go racing ahead. He is in a far faster tank. I'm guessing he may not... Yeah, cut me up. See, that'll teach me to be courteous, won't it? but I'm guessing, and I haven't driven it, so I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that he doesn't have the top engine. Ooh, T44, yeah, that's bullyable. I'm glad you stopped, because I wasn't going to be able to. On the T43, it's like I've got all my wishes have come at once. Sometimes it's too many wishes for one go. See, I can get through that front armour. My front armour is pretty good, and the 44 doesn't have amazing pen, it's only 175mm, so this is a fight that really favours me. Now, someone's killed my T43. Boo! Ooh, no! He's just put it out in time. Give me the side of your turret, I am going to shoot you. See, this has got strong armour. 44 is a good tank. The 1390 has rightly realised, has rightly presented himself as the target. 44 knows he can't hurt me. Oh, well, that's a pity. Oh, yay, there's the artillery. Loader or radio man? I wonder who. Sorry, radio man. Actually, the spaced armour does provide a modicum of protection against artillery. So I'm going to keep pushing up. That T43 has scarpered. Hopefully he's trying to sneak round behind this lot and I'll get him at my breakneck speed. Use a toilet tank. That's scarpering. Unlocked the 101 the other day. I'm getting to grips with it at the moment. It's interesting. I unlocked it. I unlocked it ages ago. Played a few games and it didn't like it, and then became immensely envious of a friend of mine who's got the 12254 unlocked. So that's like it's like a little T44. Tier 7 T44, and this gun isn't really a threat to me massively from the front, so I'm going to push on him. As I said, it's not a threat. All the spaced armour is just going to eat those shots. Might do that. But two can play that game. Well played him. Well, it was very nice of him to show the frailties of this vehicle. Its mobility for a medium is quite poor, and I would estimate that he's a fairly competent player the way that he was circling me and finishing me off there. And as this game is so nearly concluded, I'm going to work. Well, it's over now, so let's see how it ended. Not a bad game. Probably the least damage I've done. No, I think the IS-6 was lower, but showed off some of the strengths and some of the frailties of the vehicle, and I think guess that's what you're interested in. So I was up near the top nevertheless. 8 fired, 7, 8 out of 8 hit, 7 penetrated. That's rare for this, but I was fortunate that the targets I could hurt arrived in front of me. I was conscious of those that I couldn't. You have to be. 52,000 credits earned, and while we're there, we may as well have a quick. The IS-6 game we won, unsurprisingly. I only made 45,000 credits there. I only did 1,200 damage. 6 fired, 5 hits, 5 penetrated, which was more a testimony to the fact that I was taking the time to aim. Damage blocked by armor, only 320, so I was hit 6 times, penetrated 5, non-penetrated 1. That's unusual for this. The global stats I have for the tank are much better than that, but As I say, I'm just going to show you the first games I play on each. So last but not least, the T34, and I better get an urban map now. Like the T29 Heavy, the T32 to a lesser extent. Well, first of all, there's matchmaking differences shown here. It's Erlenberg. We are attacking. Because I'm the bottom tier, I have to play much more of a supporting role. My gun, the E100 and the IS-7 are problems, but everything else on their team I can penetrate. E75, if the angle's well on, I'm going to struggle with, but all the others. Incidentally, the Foch 155, if it exposes even a tiny sliver of its side armour to you, aim for the side, not for the things that you would assume were weak spots on the top. The side is so weak, it's somewhere along the lines of 40 mil, that anything with 120 or more mil of caliber massively overmatches it. So now I have 120 mil of caliber, so I massively overmatch it. The Russians, pretty much everyone at this tier who's a heavy has 120 plus. All of the TDs again 120 plus. You're going to overmatch it. You're going to really reduce the benefit of the angling, and you will penetrate it quite easily. So that's my little tip there. Oh, just have a horrible feeling that this crew are going to be quite passive and not push up. And I really don't have the health pool to be pushing on tier 10s. But I'm also started in front of everybody else, so let's see. Let's not condemn them at this early stage in the game. Looks like the STB one was very kindly just waiting for enough of the team to be in place for it to be worth him pushing, which is a healthy sign in my opinion. Oh, there's a Batmobile. I'm not going to be able to get eyes on him. If he does try and push down for whatever mad reason. It's all the tanks that I just can't hurt. And where's that IS-7 gone? Get zoomed out. I might poke my head around this side and just see if I can sneak a shell into that Batchat. No, he's not stupid. He's positioned himself well. This might invoke some controversy, but I think we've actually got a very positive chance of winning here. I always work on the basis that the team with the most Batchat is going to lose, and most of the time that rule holds true. It's a great tank in the hands of a Unicum player, and it's a terrible tank in the hands of anybody who's not a Unicum player. If you think you're a good player, you're not a Unicum player, don't get a Batchat. I'm very biased in my opinion about this. I've had so many games thrown away by stupid Batchats on our team. You don't have many tier 10s and they go rushing in and get themselves killed, and so they're not putting their weight. Oh yes please, just aim and shell out. I'm not going to find out if that hit till the end of the game. It obviously didn't hit. He's got all of his health still. This is an American gun. Please stay visible so I can see what my shell does. Hooray! I'm exposing the side of my I'll have a that seems a fair exchange. He's got less health, I've got more, and really, yeah. Boo! Probably would have hit as well. Is Ferdinand somewhere more sensible? Yeah, he is. I think I light pepper in there. But my prediction about that, chat, is so far proving true, but we've got the awful bit where you've got a assault across the bridge to come. With the bridge and now the ford, but I'm going to just push along here. I think there is only that E75. There's a Foch and a T69 we still haven't spotted. The Foch is going to be... Well, there's the T69, not where I expected him actually. And that's actually a problem. I reckon the Foch will be somewhere back with, they might be B0, that area.
Penetration. One of our tracks is damaged. Penetration.
I think I might have made a mistake pushing so aggressively. Yeah. As I say, game's kind of been thrown away and I have to take my share of the blame for that. But I'm not going to sit here and make you guys watch all the other players on our team have to slowly assault across a narrow point that the entire enemy team knows that they're coming from and die a horrible death. The Ferdinands on reasonably low health. The object is nearly dead. It could go either way. There's the Foch. Well, that I didn't expect. He was hiding like a coward. Anyway, back to the garage. Hopefully that's given you guys an opportunity to see all three of these vehicles. They're quite interesting. Which you pick, if you do pick a premium, and there are some more out there as I showed earlier. The one that you pick, really, I recommend first of all think, well, what are the regular tanks I'm playing, and then pick one that you can fit the crew in. Now, if you're like me and you're going down loads of lines and you've got the option of loads, but you only want to get one, it really depends on your play style. There is none that are significantly better than the others. I will say that if your reason for buying it is that you don't have a tier 8 and you're trying to platoon with other people with tier 8, the T34 because it gets the same matchmaking as other tier 8s, the Lerva because it gets the same matchmaking as other tier 8s, are both worthwhile considerations. I believe, but I could be wrong, all of the other tier 8 premiums, the 112 I'm not sure what its matchmaking is like. In fact, I'm not even sure what its gun is, so no, it probably gets pref matchmaking with that gun. I should imagine it drives quite similar to an IS-6, to be honest with you. That was the only other one I wasn't sure about, but those two are good if you, the 34 and the Lerva, if you are looking to get a tier 8 to play with other friends who've got tier 8 and you're not quite there yet. But as I say, my recommendation would be to you anyway, get yourself a regular tier 8. The knowledge gained by playing a regular tier 8 will mean that when you drive your IS-6, you know the spots to aim on the enemy tank. Same in this. You need to know where to aim. You need to be familiar with the opponents that you're facing. Otherwise, they're really terrible tanks. But if you know a little bit about the tier, you can make them work very effectively. But I hope that's been an insightful review for all of you guys out there and helps a little bit towards making that decision about what tank to spend your money on. The only final thing I will add is that the Super Pershing and the JagTiger are noticeably cheaper than the IS-6, the 34, the Lerva. And if that factors in, of those two, the JagTiger 88 probably better. Anyway, that's me for today. I hope to catch up with you guys soon.